Hey everybody, welcome on back to Rubbin is Racing Podcast. It's presented by Cabo Wabo Tequila, the unquestionably Mexican tequila with an undeniably American attitude. I had some of this last night. Cabo Wabo isn't just tequila, it's damn good, thick cut, 100% Blue Weber agave tequila, and it's the official tequila partner of NASCAR. At a bowl splashed any race day, watching with Cabo Wabo Tequila. And if you're heading to a race over this 2-week break, if you're going to watch the Olympics with a bunch of friends, I really don't care. Celebrate any kind of sports day with Cabo Wabo. But Cabo Wabo wants to remind you to leave the driving to professionals, so please enjoy the thick-cut, bold-tasted Cabo Wabo tequila responsibly. Grab your buds, a bottle of Cabo Wabo for the boldest race day experience ever. You got to be 21 years or older to handle this stuff, and you have to drink this responsibly. I urge you. It's delicious. We can appreciate your continued support. Cabo Wabo tequila. Go out and get some today. All right, we'll start off with some headlines and rumors, boys. Cole Custer is officially back in Cup with his dad. Is this great for Cole Custer? I mean, I think the Cole Custer experiment of going back down the Xfinity can be considered a success because he went down and he won, he won the Xfinity championship last year, and Ryan Preece didn't do overly well in his car, right? So, like, Cole Custer almost deserves this shot. But do you think this is the right shot to go into a single-car team? And do you think it's one that he could have even turned down? Was this an offer that Cole Custer couldn't refuse? Oh, I got to go work with my dad type thing. Or are you happy for him? You think this is the best fit for Mr. Custer?
I think both are true. I think he's happy, and this is an offer he can't turn down. He was loyal to Stewart-Haas. He took the Xfinity demotion, and he kind of proved that he remained worthy of the Cup ride. And also, I forget who it was a couple weeks ago that wrote us in and reminded us and was like, put some respect on Cole Custer's name. They were absolutely right. I'm looking at this now. I completely forgot that Cole Custer was a Cup Series winner. He got a win in Kentucky in 2020. So I feel like back to the whole DM, I do need to give Cole his flowers. The only thing I don't like about this move is that it's the 41. Out of all the cars that Stewart-Haas fielded, all four of them, the 4, the 14, the 41, and which one am I missing? The 10. The 41 is like the least, I don't know. If this were like their jerseys were laid out in the football locker room before me and I could pick one, 41 is the least, the last choice I'm going with.
41 kind of fits Custer, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would have liked to see double zero. I don't even know if they have the right to run that in the Cup Series. That might be a question for Moonhead, but I would have liked to see him remain in that ride, especially given he's remaining with Stewart-Haas. And also previously on the show, I was a little concerned. They're downsizing. But I'm almost going to go the other way this week, whereas like I think Cole might be in a good spot given that he will have pretty much all the Cup Series attention, and they don't have 4 cars to spread, their resources on. He will be getting everything. So I'm pretty bullish on Cole. I think he's well deserving, and the only thing I would change would be the number of the car. But I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what he does next year.
Are they in like an alliance with anybody, or are they like on an island?
I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around what that single car Stewart or Gene Haas program will look like next year, I guess. And if they have, you're right, if they have, alliances or, help in the garage. But I don't know.
The Haas factory team, I don't know exactly it, but do you think that, knowing that you respect Cole, and I say he's the best kickball third baseman I've ever seen in my life, so knowing that we have a lot of respect for Cole, I like Cole Custer. I think he's a good guy. And you think he could have held out for better? You think there was, with everybody else, maybe?
Not this season.
Honestly, no.
Not this season. Okay.
It sounds like Sam Mayer's getting a shot from left field like that we kind of didn't see coming. We all kind of agreed that probably needed another year or so, as much success as we've seen from him on the Xfinity level. But I don't know. It sounds like Sam Mayer is getting one of the remaining open rides. What I think is more interesting of this, and I don't mean to jump ahead of the headlines if you have this on there large, is that Hailie Deegan was allegedly rumored to have been offered the Xfinity ride that Cole Custer, or maybe Riley Herbst, I may have it wrong, one of their Xfinity rides was offered to Hailie Deegan, so she could potentially be racing for Stewart-Haas in Xfinity next year, which this is a win-win. If Cole getting promoted means that Cup or that Xfinity ride opened for Hailie, I'm here for it, because I said as recently as a week or two ago, I don't think this should be the end of the road for Hailie either. And the AMR 15 does not seem like as nearly as good of a car as what Stewart-Haas Xfinity program has figured out. And I've long been complimentary of Stewart-Haas on the Xfinity level. So yeah, great win by Riley Herbst at Xfinity, my guy. I'm pumped for him. That was awesome. And, yeah, I'm very
Did he
bullish.
big time you when we asked him to be on the show? Because Riley has said, I can't wait to come on the show. We see him all the time. Well, come on, whatever you guys want, even if it's just to shoot the shit. This was the time where we should have him on. I mean, he's now the hottest commodity.
Yeah.
Right? And NASCAR really, he won at the right fucking time. We have a bunch of headlines about him. And he's like, nah, I can't do it. I'm going to Europe. Did he big time us a little bit, Riley Herbst?
Maybe a little tiny bit. But at the same time, I've also been vocal, not to keep harping on what I said 3 weeks ago on the show, but I mean, I do feel as though the NASCAR season needs to be shortened. Even Bowman said it in your interview with him, Large. He said something about a 30-week schedule might not be.
Every driver wants it.
Exactly. So, and then you hear Brad Keselowski, who said that this 2 weeks that we're approaching right now, starting now, should be a complete industry-wide shutdown, meaning that the teams aren't even practicing, there's no one in the shops, they're not doing research and development. The families and the drivers are completely on break for 2 weeks as a recess. And you know what? They kind of deserve it. So, yeah, I mean, Riley, I hope he enjoys the hell out of his vacation. It looked like his kind of 2 week break started the second he crossed the finish line first in Indianapolis, and it was really cool to see him party with his family, some of which we've been lucky to meet over the course of doing this NASCAR effort. So very happy for Riley, and I couldn't be more thrilled for him also getting the Cup ride. So to see Stewart-Haas's Xfinity guys who have paid their dues and had success this year graduate is great, especially if it means we're getting Hailie Deegan in a better Xfinity ride next year. But that's my take on all of this.
Her stepping into the 98, they say with her monster contacts and whatnot that it's probably going to be pretty seamless. I mean, we could go. So we talked about Joe Custer has said out loud that he's been having confirmed conversations with Deegan. So this is real, right? We're not pulling this out of our asses. The Cole Custer thing to the Stewart-Haas factory team is real. They're not pulling. The Riley Herbst thing is still kind of amorphous. We don't know what's going on. But, yeah, I think I'd be thrilled to see Hailie jump into that ride. And if I don't know how strong of a relationship she has with Monster compared to Riley Herbst. So I don't know if it works out.
Yeah, I feel like they've been backing her a while. I feel like Ford and Monster have invested a lot into the success of Hailie. I know she's obviously ran other sponsors and stuff too, but in terms of like flagship sponsors, I feel like it's been them as long as I can remember.
And just what like a company
her
wants,
family
like,
ties into it.
Monster always does like the motorsports, extreme sports, stuff like that.
Dirt
and
bikes.
Then somebody who hits a clientele that they have, like a demographic that they struggle to reach, which is probably women. I'm sure they are like very happy with her.
Absolutely. Especially, I mean,
you don't see a lot of girls pounding the Monster out there, right? Out there in them streets. You don't
Not
see
a very
it a lot.
ladylike drink.
So congratulate. I mean, if it comes through, that's great. I think it's great for Cole. I just remember how much Ricky was saying how tough it is to be a single car, a driver in a single car team, and I don't know.
Think if you have a good alliance and get kind of like all the benefits of a big team, like research and all the sim data that they do, it can be good because you are the like only thing that the team is paying attention to. But if you're kind of just completely on an island, it can be very tough to compete.
And then when we're talking about Hailie and how we think that it'd be great that she's in a ride, let's take a look at what they've done since they pulled her. AM Racing. We spoke about Logano getting into, it kind of worked at Chicago. He didn't do overly well. And then Josh Berry the past 2 weeks, he finished 27th at Pocono and didn't finish at Indy. Those are two things that Hailie could have definitely done. She could have definitely pulled a P27 at Pocono and not finished at Indy also. So, I don't know. As soon as Riley Herbst had won on Saturday, Denny immediately tweeted just the word impressive. And obviously he's in talks to have that charter that 2311 may or may not be getting. So Herbst had then reiterated, I have options from all three series, and we're weighing all three options. But ultimately, he's going to leave it up to Kevin Harvick Incorporated, KHI, to lead him through this decision, which I thought was a pretty good shout out to Happy. So that's cool.
I saw that tweet and I was like, it's a done deal.
The impressive
I think
tweet.
that
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Denny knows what he's doing. That's
very
a
much
drop of he's coming here.
I had that same take, Quigs.
So what's the best move? Let's rank them. Haley to the 98, Cole to the 41, and Riley Herbst to 2311. What do you think is the best move for both parties? Like, and I'm saying, is Riley Herbst the right driver to be there? You know what I mean? Versus maybe Cole Custer. Do you think Cole Custer's a better driver? Do you know what I'm saying? And so where do you say the no-brainer is Cole? You know what I mean? Like rank them in terms of that.
Obviously, the Cup car is the most substantial or best career opportunity. However, in terms of like the best overall move, I'm gonna go with Haley Deegan to Stuart Haas or to Haas Xfinity, excuse me, and that's only because a couple weeks ago it seemed like this might be the end of the line for her in NASCAR, or she was gonna have a really hard time finding future opportunities, and now it seems like that's not the case. Whereas Riley and Cole, we've even had these discussions on here, whereas like if Riley weren't going to 2311 or if Cole didn't get this Cup ride, we're still strongly of the opinion that they would probably be like one or two, if not like top 5 Xfinity drivers to be getting a call for the next available Cup ride in their respective, manufacturer, or even in Riley's case, you could switch. So, in terms of who needed this opportunity the most, I think it was Haley. Cole already had the Cup Series experience. He had a Cup Series win, as I alluded to. He's having a great Xfinity Series year this year. And Riley comes with funding and immense sponsorship. It's a matter of time before he found his way to the Cup Series, especially now that he's winning more frequently when people have been, I remember when I was early on the Riley Herbst train, people would be like, this guy's never won, say all these disparaging things. And I feel like he's kind of broken the mold and turned a corner, whereas there's 2 guys I have in my brain that I will not say that are still kind of struggling to win. One on Cup Series, one on Xfinity Series, and I like both these guys. So I'm very Team Riley Herbst, but I think he would have found his way to Cup, whether it was this year with 2311 or in years future. So who needed it the most? Haley Deegan. That's my answer to your question, Large. Guys, would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely for who needed it the most would be Deegan. I think that Custer's a great fit for that just because what they're doing requires like trust and buy-in, and it being like a father-son duo, I think is probably like the best fit they could get for a single car team. So yeah, I'd go for best fit. Custer, person who like made out the best would be Deegan.
Yeah. So Moonhead, what do you think? What do you think of these 3 moves?
I agree basically with everything Spider and Quiggs said, but I think Herbst honestly got the best deal out of it because going to one of the biggest up-and-coming teams in Cup with only 2 Xfinity wins and not really that great of a stat sheet, I feel like is a really good deal. And I think he'll capitalize on it. He's run good in the Cup races he's done before, and he's definitely turned it around. But I feel like Haley, even without NASCAR, she was going to be fine, right? And then Cole has had Haas on all of his cars since the beginning of time, no matter who he drove for. So it's not like a huge shock. But seeing Herbst have a shot to end up in 2311 equipment and Cup with 2 Xfinity wins is honestly, I feel like kind of not something I would have expected a year ago or 2 years ago at all.
And it's the riskiest. Like, if you look at their performance next year, what's Cole Custer's bar for we'll call it a new team, right? Like, I know it's not a new team, but for this new team, what's his bar? What's Haley Deegan's bar returning to? And again, this isn't a done deal or any shit like that. I think Riley Herbst's bar is the highest, right? And probably has the least, he's probably the longest shot here. Because at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if Haley starts to run, middle pack of Xfinity? Like they'll give her a couple of years almost to get into it. I don't know. Like,
what intrigues me is like the money aspect of it, where it's like if there is no bar for Herbst if his dad funded the charter and paid for the seat, which that was like rumored. I don't know what ended up happening with that and how much money was involved and if his dad funded the charter, but if he's getting the spot because his dad is paying for the seat, I don't think there's much expectation at all. Do you know much about
I
that,
also
Spider?
kind of feel like, not on the Riley Herbst thing, but the Cole Custer thing, like, back to the whole number thing. Is him being in the 41, like, setting the expectations prematurely? Like, hey, we're expecting you to have Ryan Priest level output next year. I go back to Joe Gibbs and the 18 car. That car, as far as I'm concerned, is like the flagship number for Joe Gibbs Racing, and it's now been parked in the garage, not being run for, 2 years? So, like, Ty Gibbs going to the 54 and not the 18, in my opinion, was because they wanted to separate him and distance him from any existing expectation he would have came into if Ty Gibbs were driving the 18 car. So by that logic, does Haas kind of have the same energy and is like, hey, we're giving you the 41. If you can run like Ryan Priest did this year, we'll be happy with that. We're essentially looking for a billboard for Haas Automation in the race. Who knows?
He's got a definitive comp. But, and it's Quiggs, I'm going to have to disagree with you. Like, if his dad or his family had helped bankroll this, that's going to be all the more tough on the kid if he's not performing well. Because we know how terrible social media can get.
Yeah.
Even for a rich kid like Ty Gibbs, whose grandfather gave him the seat, like, he's gotten a lot of that stuff. I'm assuming we're going to hear a lot of that about Riley if he doesn't live up to expectations right away. Unfairly.
Yeah. No, I mean,
kid.
definitely with, like, social. I was kind of talking more about, like, what MJ and Denny would be expecting of him. But I also, like, don't understand how that works at all with the charter thing. Like,
that seems like it's just too much of a business discussion behind the curtain that we'll never understand how it actually went down.
And if there's actual, like, ownership of the charter once Riley leaves, or if it just he pays up front, Riley gets a seat, and then it's 2311's property after. I don't know. And I don't even know if that's happening. Like, I don't know if I would assume maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like the whole charter thing is just kind of very fluid. Even when we were doing some stuff surrounding 2311, I asked leading questions that led me to believe exactly what I just said was true, was that the charter system is fluid. Who knows? Maybe they do purchase the charter. Maybe 2311 pays for it. Maybe they don't even need to purchase one. Maybe Riley Herbst's father, Troy, already purchased it weeks ago. We don't really know, but yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for all the Ford drivers.
Either way, congratulations to Riley Herbst.
Yeah, it sounds like the Fords, it sucks to lose Chase Briscoe, but I don't know. They kind of are retaining a lot of good guys in his absence, so it's kind of a small silver lining.
Quiggs, were you able to watch the race when they made the Biden announcement, or were you that broken up? Like, is it one of those things where you had to sort of take a second?
So it didn't affect me because I was on... I was watching it in my room, and I was on, like, the NBC app, so I didn't get bumped, but I heard everyone else got bumped.
Yeah, I did get bumped, and I must have wrote, like, 4 drafts before I deleted them and restarted my tweet. I didn't want to, sound off too much. I ended up tweeting, "This better not interrupt NASCAR," which it ultimately did, and I want to give a shout-out quick to Team 54 Updates, on Twitter. They were quick to remind me, hey, the pre-race coverage got moved to USA from NBC because of this news conference. So regardless of your political take, I don't know. I'm of the opinion NASCAR and sports are a great escape from the political bullshit, especially now, the fucking day we live in this country. Everyone's so divided. Everyone needs, people at odds. So, like, NASCAR is a great way to get your mind off all the extra bullshit happening. And for it to be interrupted for some politics definitely kind of upset me temporarily. But again, shout out Team 54 Updates, who got me and everyone else who saw my tweet over to USA Network to watch the rest of the pre-race coverage. So it wasn't that bad. It could have been worse.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it had to happen, right? Because NBC is people's first... Well,
right.
For a lot of people, it's their first option.
So that's the thing.
As much as story in the world.
As much as I love that NASCAR has the most accessibility for any pro sport, that if you have the most basic cable packages, you could still watch the race. The problem with that is when stuff like this happens, when there's weather, when there's news, when there's emergency announcements, your broadcast is getting bumped. So, I mean, back to the silver lining thing. It's great that it's accessible. It's bad that we're the first program bumped.
I didn't see a bar below while they were doing the Biden announcement and whatnot saying, hey, if you were here for NASCAR, go tune into,
Yeah, they didn't. They did. Like I said, it took my Twitter following to redirect me to the right spot. I didn't see anything from NASCAR and NBC on social. And then even once the race started, I don't know if you guys had this, there was maybe like 2 or 3 times where the race just went black for like, the whole screen went black for like maybe 8 to 10 seconds. And I thought to myself, like, did my TV just go into sleep mode and I didn't hit the remote for the last like 3 hours? Like, what's going on here? Like,
yeah, I didn't remember. I didn't see that happen.
And then I also have one other complaint with NBC. I've been very critical of Fox all year. And I'm going to save this one until we get into the controversial finish. But I'll just say that NBC very much caught NASCAR in 4K.
I think, we're going to talk about consistency with NASCAR in this episode because that seems to be what everyone's complaining about this week. They get dealt a different curveball every week, like trying to pull off a quote unquote crown jewel and dealing with weather and dealing with this and dealing with all the rest of the things that come into play with a traditional race. And then all of a sudden, what, the fucking president just announced? Jesus Christ. And so they have to pivot. Then they got to come back, and then they got to pivot again because they, it came up against the 6 o'clock hour. It's not easy. It's not traditional. It's not straightforward. It's not easy. So I don't know. I'm giving them a little bit of credit here. But we'll talk about the consistency because I haven't heard such a potty mouth from Chase Elliott in my life. Right? I was blushing when he was motherfucking everybody on the radio, and I would tell you right now, I absolutely loved it. But the more that I'm looking into it, I had dinner last night with Freddie Spider. Freddie and his wife were in town, so my wife and I had gone out with Freddie Kraft, who's one of the spotters and a host of Door Bumper Clear. Even he was saying how, they said stay off the racing surface, but there wasn't too much specifics as far as, the racing surface starts after the line, so I guess there was an assumption. Like there wasn't a picture, this car will be penalized, this car is legal, like that type of idiot-proof stuff. And we've seen some idiot-proof stuff, particularly around, we had gone to a driver's meeting for some road course, might have been at Roval, where they were talking about all the chicanes and all that kind of shit. Like they do get idiot-proof for a lot of the drivers and their crews beforehand. It seemed like this one wasn't idiot-proof, and as a result, some people I don't think anyone considers an idiot, Brad Kay and Chase Elliott, got fucking banged. And Chase went bananas. You think he regrets that now because it's just one of those things where he didn't understand the rule? Or do you think that's on NASCAR for not explaining it well enough, at least not well enough for, 2 veteran drivers and a couple of others who didn't get banged? This is the consistency that people are complaining about. Chase have a point, or is Chase Elliott way off here?
I think it's on NASCAR, and I only have one thing to point to this. Mm-hmm. After this occurred, and again, I guess I have one other complaint with NBC is Blaney and fucking Chase Elliott were on the radios this week.
Oh, yeah.
And all I saw out of this were the tweets where someone wrote out what they were saying. I wanted to hear Chase Elliott swearing. I wanted to hear Blaney swearing. Even on the TV broadcast, like mix in the bleep button. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason why that's only on social. And Large, I'm not even sure. Did you hear the actual radio at any point on the broadcast?
So that's one of the reasons why I miss Race Hub. I used to love Radioactive. They used to play that once a week where they'd go through. So all these other podcasts have pulled the actual audio from it. So, I've got to hear it a lot on social and whatnot. And,
but on the broadcast, did they ever play it?
On the broadcast, so I got hosed on the broadcast because I was in Philly. I had to interview Boots Ennis and Jarrell Miller, these 2 boxers down in Philly. So I was in Philly all weekend, relying on the kindness of my DVR to take care of me. And I got totally fucked.
Yeah.
I got totally fucked. Once again. But again, I was legitimately in a gym, not working out, while the race was going on. There's nothing I can do. I got to work. And So I didn't get to see anything real time this
Yeah,
week
so
at
I
all.
guess
and I didn't even try to, Spider. I didn't try to do what I do other days, like where I know I'm going to tune in about an hour late and catch up. I didn't turn off social, so I was watching the whole thing on social the whole time. So I was up to date. But as far as being able to watch an actual race, even when I got home, it was impossible. So I've just been pulling shit up on YouTube.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I watched the whole broadcast. Maybe I missed it, but all I heard was the broadcasters talking about what Chase said, never what Chase or Blaney actually said, which I think, as you said, this is rare. We don't hear this much from Chase. So if he's going to be on one, play the audio, even if it requires a little bleep and it might make the broadcast PG-13. I don't think the NASCAR audience would mind. But I think he does have a point because, again, based on what the broadcast said that Chase said on his radio, they made it sound as if Chase was super familiar with the literal like verbiage of what NASCAR and how they worded, you know, their instructions. Chase, again, third party, the broadcaster said that Chase on his radio said, in the email, it never said anything to that tune. It said, like, as long as you don't go on the racing surface. Was I on the So, like, it wasn't black and white. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to two of the best household name veteran drivers who have been doing this a long time, whether it be Brad Kay, whether it be Chase Elliott. And as you said, Large, there were other guys that also were penalized for this. So I think that NASCAR probably just need to be a little bit more clear on the rules, especially we haven't raced on this track in, 4 years? I mean, if you're going to have an absence, and I'll save my piece on the crown jewel thing, if you're gonna have this race back there, shit better be buttoned up, whether that be the rules and how you're breaking down, you know, blending for these drivers. It can't just be like, oh, you know, you've raced here before. Remember how it was in 28, whatever. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately, ignorance of the law does not mean that you're,
Right.
you know, you don't have to follow the law. So there is an onus on the teams, but I think there's a little bit more clarity that NASCAR could have provided. Because remember, this wasn't a Chase Elliott who was frustrated on the outside looking in of the playoff picture without a win for so long and all. You know, this isn't the Chase. You know, he's got his win. He's a playoff driver. He's 10 points off the point lead to Kyle Larson, right? He's been having a pretty solid season, and he lost his shit. And at one point, I guess you might not have heard this, Spider, but his spotter or crew chief had said, you just got to make up position now. And he's like, then tell me where the fucking button is that will stop the laws of physics or something. Like he'd said something like that. Like that's what he said. And I thought that was pretty funny. So to your point, I'm here for it, but I think it falls on his lap, his whole team's lap, to know the fucking rules.
So
too. You know what I mean?
You're about to ask me about a question where I'm fairly confident the entire panel here is going to shit on NASCAR for their consistency. Before we get to that segment, I want to take a second here and commend and pat NASCAR on the back for their consistency on this move. I'm not sure that Chase Elliott was the first car, and honestly, I can't sit here and remember who was the first car penalized for this on Sunday, but I'll tell you what. They were consistent with the penalty. Every car that may or may not have broke as minute or as significant of a rule as it may have been was penalized, and they were consistent with that ruling. Brad Kay got it. Chase Elliott got it. A couple other cars I'm neglecting to remember got it. So, like, before I shit on NASCAR for being wildly inconsistent with their penalties, I need to say they did a great job. As much as I hated seeing Chase getting penalized for some bullshit ticky-tacky violation, they were consistent and did come down on all the drivers, not just NASCAR's golden boy and Chase Elliott, as all the Twitter fingers would like to say. So I'm going to be critical here in a minute, but at first I want to give them their flowers.
Congrats, NASCAR.
Did Blaney have a point? Congrats. Yeah, here's one. Hold on, I'm going to ask you.
I've done all the talking.
What did you think there, buddy? Because, Kyle Larson didn't get his wheel over the white line, so it seemed like he might have had a similar infraction, but I think there was a small little bit of leeway that made him the difference. As far as just his blending rule and how the drivers understood it, the majority of the field knew what to do, right? That's also a good argument for NASCAR versus Chase Elliott. Like, pay more fucking attention most popular driver in the world.
But did those guys learn once they saw the first couple cars get penalized?
I don't know. It didn't happen that early on, right? I think people were a bit. I don't know. Moon, what do you think?
The picture I saw of it looked pretty cut and dry. Like I don't know. I feel like I think it was Jeff Burton brought it up at the end with the whole restart deal and who was the lead car. Like as a driver, you've got to know the rules. And maybe NASCAR wasn't clear, but I feel like if they weren't clear, there would have been a lot more of them doing it. Like I feel like somebody somewhere dropped the ball in making sure Chase understood what the procedure was. But also in Chase's defense, in 2020 or whenever the last race they ran on the oval, everybody, like they were doing it egregiously, like driving up onto the racetrack to do it. So I don't know. I don't know where the blame really falls. The picture, I mean, if the rule was you can't go on the track,
right,
it was the right call.
He definitely
100%.
broke the rule. Yeah.
I mean, he definitely, there's no argument there. I think it more just falls on, okay, like, did NASCAR do the best job explaining it?
Right.
I'd say they probably did because most of the field didn't do it. So then I think the blame kind of turns to the people around Chase and Chase himself just not understanding the rule, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think he should be fined for potty language on the
Fuck
radio.
that.
Yeah, I love it.
If he's fined for
Blaney.
potty language, our show's canceled.
Yeah. I love Blade, the fucking chosen one. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. It's amazing to me because we don't get to listen to huddles, right? We've never got to listen to any kind of huddles and stuff. This is like intimate road rage type shit. If somebody had a camera in my car and I get cut off, I get, and I'm cool as a cucumber. You know, I don't really get too up or down except it's with SVG. I'm fucking angry and a little bit racist. Like I go to look at who the person is first. I'd be like, that German bastard. What's he thinking? A fucking Panzer tank? You know what I mean? Like I don't care what you are, right? Like that Irish fuck. You know, like. So to have these guys have this aired out, like I'm sure Chase regrets that a little bit. I don't know. Does Blaney now? How uncomfortable is it for Blaney to bump into Larson? You know, and him be like, chosen one, huh? You know what I mean? Like, is that uncomfortable? So talk about Blaney. Did Blaney go a little bit fucking batshit crazy? Because I think he got fucked. You know, I know this has been talked to death, but Brad Kay all of a sudden was running out of fuel, so he bailed to the pits right before the restart. So Larson got to move up into what was the P1 position, the bottom lane. And even though Ryan Blaney became the control car, he didn't have the opportunity or the right to get into the better position. So it's almost like he was penalized and the chosen one was given a better starting point. And then on top of that, perhaps the chosen one had gotten away with jumping the restart when Blaney was clearly the control car. So Blaney went bananas once he had seen what was going on. What's the deal with that? So there's a law. You know, there are rules in place, NASCAR rules in place. So it played out the way that it should have as far as NASCAR's rule book is concerned. But did Blaney get fucked is my question to you guys.
It sounds like yes. As much as that's true, I don't really understand it. I tried looking at it, and honestly, I didn't. I mean, maybe Larson's car, from my perspective, just appeared to be the better car. That may have been him jumping early. I also looked at the SMT telemetry data that was posted on Reddit there after the fact, and I got to be honest, I have no idea what the fuck to make of those numbers, of that graph, of that data. For that reason, I'm unfortunately going to give Larson the pass here. And that's only because, again, back to my consistency thing, which I really loved giving NASCAR their flowers when they can remain consistent. Denny Hamlin did this, maybe, and then it basically admitted to it. And again, even then, I didn't really understand. And he basically admitted to it, and NASCAR allowed him the win. Larson basically, and again, and I trust Ryan Blaney. I love Ryan Blaney. I'm a big Blaney fan. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that what he's saying is honest and true, as much as I don't understand it. Larson jumped the restart not once, but twice. So yeah, I do kind of feel for Blaney, but at the same time, unfortunately, there's a precedent of kind of allowing this to happen or turning your head unless it's absolutely egregious. And my casual NASCAR fan eye saw what I saw from Denny. So by that metric, I think it might be unfortunate and it might have came at Blaney's expense, but that's just the precedent that's been set, and you kind of have to do what you got to do late in these races, whether it means moving someone up the track, whether it means jumping the restart from half a second twice. I don't know, but in a league where wins mean more, you got to leave it all out there, especially when NASCAR has a precedent of kind of turning a blind corner. Guys, both Moonhead and Quiggs are smarter than me. Is that a dumbass take from me?
Well, Denny broke down the SMT data and said he's like never seen two cars be more identical on like a restart.
That's what he said about this restart.
Yes. I guess one of the two. I don't know which one. Yep. But if that's the case, is that just like amazing timing? Where, I mean, it's obviously a coincidence at some point, but like if Larson got on the gas at the exact same time, that's pretty much about as good as you can do it to match the leader's speed. I don't know. I mean, is that jumping the restart, or is that like if he's a millisecond later, he's technically
then it's not. Yeah. I feel like honestly, and Denny's not the guy here. Like, he doesn't get to make the decisions.
Yeah.
So, but if that SMT data and they say they fired off the exact same time, that's the control car didn't fire off first. Like, that's against the rules. It seems like, and I know it's sometimes they don't call, but it does seem like there was a rule broken there.
Yeah, but it's just so close that if it's I don't know how quickly that SMT data runs, but if it was one, like if the graphs were offset by like 1 unit, like how then it's completely clean and Larson just timed it up a millisecond perfectly after him and it's fine. I don't know.
In short, Blaney got fucked. There's no doubt. I don't think anybody can argue that Blaney did not get fucked in this situation because of the whole choose cone deal. He chose the outside because he figured Brad would run out, and then now Brad runs out earlier, so then that hands the preferred lane to Larson. Also, looking at the SMT, from what I've gathered, Larson restarted in first gear where Blaney restarted in second gear. So Larson's rolling and gets a better jump in first gear than second gear. So to the naked eye, like watching it on TV, even I was like, oh my God, like no way they let that slide. Like he jumped the hell out of it. But looking at the SMT, I think Larson just did a better job restarting. Now, do I think that means Blaney didn't get fucked? No, absolutely not. I think the restart should have been called off and they should have re-chose and all that. But then you're going to run into the whole mess of probably 9 of them running out of fuel and we're never going to finish the race. So like it was, once again, and we've seen this a lot this year, it was kind of an unprecedented set of circumstances, and unfortunately Blaney got the worst end of it.
Yeah. I think a couple things. I mean, first of all, Tyler Reddick's been the bridesmaid, the last like month and a half, it seems like. So, I mean, in terms of like getting screwed, Blaney kind of caught one tough break. He didn't lose. He wasn't Kyle Busch at Atlanta losing by, well, actually, I guess he was right there with him. So I guess this is a second tough break for Blaney this year, as I remind myself in real time. But the other thing I was going to say is like, part of me feels like some of Blaney's smoke was misdirected. Like, aim those bullets you had for Larson at Brad K. Brad K was trying to pull one of the most asinine fuel mileage moves ever. There was no, I mean, if he did, like even the broadcast said, if Brad K was able to make it to the finish of that race, like that would have been the most unprecedented, hard to believe, like investigate that car type move. Mm. We all knew he wasn't making it on fuel. So for him to kind of, I don't know, if I'm Ryan Blaney, I think some of that smoke needs to be directed at Brad.
Yeah, but it's a million times worse if Brad decides not to pit and then goes for the restart.
This was still pretty bad. He still cost him.
Spider's saying staying out that long was such a cock tease. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I guess staying out that long.
And pull off.
But if you do that restart and Blaney's right behind you and you're out of gas before the first turn, then you've completely ruined his day.
Yeah, I mean, I still think if I'm Blaney, I'm blaming Brad a little bit, and maybe that's just me trying to always find someone to blame for my shortcomings, but
Yeah.
I don't think that Brad did Blaney any favors, especially
Definitely
as guys that raced, for an extended period of time for the same team. There's still 4 drivers. I'm not expecting fucking Brad K to just like give up and pull off the track and park it so Blaney can pull ahead, but at the same time, I mean, you're a veteran. I expect you to have enough fucking self-awareness to, I don't know. I
I've
think
got a question.
some of the blame's on Brad K. That's all.
Do y'all think Brad goes for it if Logano doesn't make it a few weeks ago? Do you think that was on their mind where they're like, oh my God, another Ford just had
Yeah, honestly,
fuel mileage?
I think Brad saw what Joey did and was like, you know what? If there's one thing the Fords have, it's fuel mileage and the ability to kind of get more from the cars. So in that regard,
But I think Moonhead's kind of asking more is like, if he would have made it, is there like alarm bells going off saying is something going on with their gas?
Yeah.
Is that what you're more saying?
No, I'm more thinking maybe the Fords just get great gas mileage.
Okay.
Logano
they're
defied
super efficient.
the odds, and he was like, well, if he could do it, maybe we can do it too. So I don't know. Because, I mean, even the broadcast was like scratching their head. They're like, yeah, he should not be running right now.
Can they put an addendum into the rule books that you have to leave it blank?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, they
leave
can do
red
that during the
case
race.
spot. Yeah, like just
I feel
not allow
at this point. I
anyone-
think there is no NASCAR rule book. I think they just make
there
it
isn't.
up
Okay,
every
it's
week.
just it's just
Everything's
moving target.
unprecedented, and
I think they just need
make
to
it up.
give
I don't think there
Elliott
are
Sawyer
rules.
like $10 million a year to just be the #1 fucking villain fall guy of NASCAR. Like, he just sits there and rules with an iron fist. If you don't like it, tough shit. But guess what? Everything runs through him. Because there needs to be more, like, I don't know. It needs to be more black and white. It seems like every week we're getting ourselves in a predicament where there's an unprecedented rule or we're modifying something to fit this particular race or whatever it may be. So,
which is cool sometimes, but also
well, I think it's
gets
fine if
annoying.
you make that the norm. The second you harp on like, hey, we're we have a long-lasting rule book that we follow down to a T, and here's how we do things, and we're very traditional, then I think you kind of put yourself in a box.
yeah.
If you
I
just
think
come
they
out,
should just leave that spot empty. I think it's I think it's probably easier said than done. But all of a sudden that the restart, that inside lane, and then give Blaney a chance on the restart to fire into that lane essentially, because the only person that got an unfair advantage was Kyle Larson, in the P3 position. Like, and he didn't deserve that. I don't think so. I think there's the unfairness of the whole thing. It's luck of the draw. Obviously, they weren't doing it because it was Kyle Larson's. And I was watching some baseball thing where some guy took his lead deep into right field off of first base, and it's 100% legal because baseball has a Bible that says you don't develop a base path until somebody challenges your base path. So when they tried to throw him out, while he was out in right field, it established there's all these different things to cover just about anything that's happened over the however many years baseball's been playing. You're right, Quiggs. It seems like NASCAR just sort of, what should we do here? Bang. And
which
it's
is
just a
great
lot of
when they
moving
make
parts.
good calls. It's something that we talk about all the time when we feel like they make the wrong call. So,
But that's because they're in an unfair position. Somebody's going to get fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Blaney fans and Larson haters are going to be louder than Larson fans on this. It's just the way that it's a thankless job. For NASCAR sometimes it's a thankless job. Let's keep going and shitting on them while we have them. If that happened on lap 20, do they throw out a caution for Ryan Preece? Yes, right? I mean, and any other situation, Ryan Preece, it said now that he ran out of gas and he had blown some tires, and I know he was trying to go, but he couldn't, and they didn't throw the flag, basically ensuring a Larson win. And again, like you guys are saying, throw another caution flag, you start to run into the whole Nashville thing where more people are going to be running out of gas, cautions are going to get cautions and all that kind of shit. But they just changed the rule there. Like, there's no rule book in NASCAR where that's a definitive yellow flag except during an overtime restart. Like, there is no rule to do that. So I don't know. I don't even think that's one that needs to be argued. there should have been a flag thrown out, but I kind of know why they didn't. So the one that I think I want to argue is Indianapolis, the Brickyard, got absolutely blown by everyone. I mean, when we were going back, for the All-Star race in North Wilkesboro, they had all these like sappy old footage of it overrun with weeds, and then the whole thing, and now we're bringing back, it's historic and all that kind of stuff, and it was kind of cool. That was nothing compared to how people were absolutely sucking the Indianapolis Brickyard's dick this weekend. It was unbelievable. And the fact that it's a crown jewel, I don't think I agree with it either. And some idiot on Twitter named Moonhead was the first one to get out there and say that he wasn't a fan of this being, and he got fucking dragged for it by the majority of commenters. Some people were 100% ready to die on that hill. Multiple tweets from this aforementioned asshole Moonhead just absolutely sticking up for this. And I think he's convinced me of the fact that why the fuck are we giving this IndyCar track, this reverence like we're racing in the fucking Vatican? I realize the history. I'm a history guy, but let's save words like crown jewel for Daytona. Let's, the Bristol night race isn't an official crown jewel. It should be. You know what I mean? So what do you guys, by the way, the race did very well. Everyone's talking about the empty stands, and I know that's been explained away that this has, 250,000 seats in the bleachers. So the fact that we brought in 80,000 people made it seem very bleak, but there was still a lot going on, and it was very, very, the race atmosphere was great and all that kind of bullshit. But what do you think? Is this, am I crazy? Like Kyle Larson's like, I think I'll be back to run the Indy 500, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
He all but
honestly,
confirmed
I don't give
it.
a fuck.
I disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's
he made
cool.
the decision. Is this a crown jewel? Should it be a crown jewel? The TV ratings were great. It was the most watched sporting event of the weekend. It was only up against the WNBA All-Star Game and a couple other things, right? One of the Opens and stuff. But still, it was very well watched. Is this a fucking crown jewel or is it not? Spider and Quiggs, would you mind if I deferred and gave the first chance to answer to the guy who's probably the most who feels
qualified?
Strongly about this?
Yeah.
Why is this or isn't this a crown jewel along with the Daytona 500, Coca-Cola 600, and the Southern 500 at Darlington?
So I want to preface by saying I think the Indy 500 is the biggest race of the year. Like, it's bigger than the Daytona 500. And that's coming from a NASCAR fan. In my opinion, the only reason NASCAR ever even bothered going to Indy was to try to leech off of that prestige. And so we come in somewhere where, we have no history, we have nothing, and we race, and it's cool. And it was probably great in 1994 or whenever the first one was. I'm sure that was a great thing. I wish I could have been there for that. But for as long as I can remember, all I remember are boring races. And after the race, the talk is never about, oh my God, this guy's career just changed. He just won the Brickyard 400, or, oh, what an impressive drive to win the Brickyard 400. It's always, oh man, the stands were empty. Oh man, that race sucked. Oh man, they couldn't pass. Oh man, they were blowing tires every 5 laps. Like, there is never, no matter what people want to say, there's never any positivity coming out of it ever. I mean, look at this last one. All we're talking about is a restart, restart rules, Chase Elliott rules, and then all the wrecks at the end, and then them not throwing cautions. And then the biggest point I'd like to bring up, and they get really mad when you bring this one up. Okay, if it's a crown jewel and it was such a big deal, why did NASCAR themselves abandon it for almost 5 years? Why did we abandon it and go to the road course? And that sucked too. So honestly, I feel like once the road course sucked and it couldn't generate the hype and prestige of a crown jewel event, we should have just pulled the plug. And I get it. If we want to go there, that's fine. It's cool. I'm not trying to discredit any of the history of it. I'm sure as a race car driver, it means the world to win any sort of race at Indianapolis in any car at any time. but it's not a NASCAR crown jewel. You will not convince me otherwise. It is not in the same ballpark as the Daytona 500. It's not in the same ballpark as the Coke 600. It's not in the same ballpark as the Southern 500. And I'd argue it's not in the same ballpark as the Bristol Night Race. And honestly, if you want to talk about history, Martinsville or Watkins Glen or a lot of other tracks should be a crown jewel way before Indy.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying, right?
So,
I think that's a compelling argument from a person I don't respect. I don't even like Travis. But it's a compelling argument for me, and I'm NASCAR first. I am. Because I'm trying to. I don't watch IndyCar. Like, if I need something more than than Cup Series and Xfinity and the trucks, then I'll watch late model, some dirt stuff. There's plenty to watch in our universe. I don't need to give any shine to IndyCar. Honestly, like, even with Larson doing that thing, it infuriated me. Did somebody who won on the road course, is that considered a crown jewel if they do it on the road course versus the oval? I guess, right? It's I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me for that. Does anyone think it's a crown jewel?
No.
I know
No.
Moonhead's opinion. Oh, no.
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 I mean, I agree completely. You can't if it's a crown, like, does the PGA Tour just miss the Masters for 5 years at a time? Like, what are we doing here? It's not a crown jewel. This is an easy conversation. I think if they wanted to make it one, that's a different conversation. Maybe they can. I think obviously Indy showed up and they have a great, fan base. It's a great market for our sport, as much as they may prefer open wheel racing, whatever. I think it's a win-win when we go there. To call it a crown jewel just because, it was sold out or the crowd was full or we were back on the Indy Oval is just crazy to me. If it's truly a crown jewel, it will be a priority year after year for a long time. And I agree wholeheartedly with Moonhead and what he says. And honestly, as a casual NASCAR fan, my opinion of it not being a crown jewel, Moonhead only makes me feel better about thinking that, because as someone that is very knowledgeable, if they have that opinion, I only feel better about it. So not a crown jewel. A cool race, yes, not a crown jewel.
I just don't think it can be a crown jewel if it's not the most important race that goes on in the building, basically. Like, it's just not. It's by far an IndyCar crown jewel. It's just not
100%.
as important for us. I think it could be a more important thing if there was like a history behind it of, like, if you won the Brickyard, you're the one NASCAR driver that, like, auto qualifies to be in the Indy 500 and vice versa. And if that was the way we did, like, a double duty system, that would add, like, something to it. But yeah, just the amount of tracks and races that feel more iconic and crown jewel-y to me, it, like, Indy wouldn't be on my list of ones if I was making what I thought were, like, crown jewels.
If you were to put a gun, I think this is the argument too. If you would put a gun to the head of any NASCAR driver, active NASCAR driver, and said, would you give up a Daytona 500 win, your only Daytona 500 win, for a win at the Brickyard? Would you give up any other crown jewels? I think I would rather have a win at the Southern 500 than at the Brickyard 400. I'd rather have a win at the Daytona 500 or the Coca-Cola 600. I'd rather have a win at Bristol Night. So if you are going to make it a crown jewel, it's like let's rank them, push this one, add Bristol as the fifth, and put this one in fifth place. Like, this is that last Infinity Stone that nobody really gave a shit about, or didn't even knew what the fuck it did. If they want to kind of have it up there, stop sucking its dick so much.
I got a quick question about just in general crown jewel. Like, what is the, like, who decided the list of crown jewels, and what is, like, the criteria of, like, how did that come about to where these races are what we call crown jewels?
I mean, I'll throw a guess out that if you have a small group of people who have won all four, and that group right now is Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Earnhardt, are the only drivers to have won all four crown jewels, from what I understand. That's kind of cool company and cool, you know what I mean? Like, it sort of gives people something to work towards. But outside of that, I don't know. With your with your example, the Indianapolis 500, when those stands are packed, right? Like that's crown jewelish. Like this really doesn't seem like so maybe put it as a bracelet jewel, like move it off the fucking crown. I mean, we really appreciate it, and I think it's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, no, I do like Indy for everything.
Yeah,
it's
it's not a shit on Indy. I just don't think it gets it. So to answer your question, I have no idea how it just becomes one of those things. Seems kind of arbitrary. You know?
I think it was grandfathered in because of the venue, which is cool. Once again, like it is a cool place, but like you guys said, like a crown jewel, there's a lot of factors I feel like that go into it. And if it was just a boring race and the crowd was always, there and like there felt like there was genuine hype around it, maybe I'd feel differently. But I feel like NASCAR is one of the few racing series in the world that spends a lot of time trying to be like other forms of racing, if that makes sense, where I feel like why not like focus on our own history and like create our own crown jewels and our own events. Like you don't see F1 left the Indy road course. Like they're not trying to run an oval race around Indy to prove their series worth. And I feel like NASCAR doesn't have to go put on a crappy event just to say, oh, we raced at Indy and have a crown jewel here. Like I feel like it's unnecessary and it's not a crown jewel. And
I think if IndyCar was to run at Talladega, they wouldn't make that a crown jewel of the IndyCar season. It's just one of those things. All right, so let's just get out of this race. Before we do that, over under, I'm going to do the Nobody's Cooler segment brought to you by Arctic. I got my Arctic cooler right here, as I always do. ArcticOutdoors.com, RTIC Outdoors.com. I was on it this weekend. They got a lot of great stuff on it. Winds up they have like a roller bag. I just ordered one. The hell with it. So it's not just drinkware and coolers. And one of the things Arctic wants to know is, did you all know that Dale Jr. owns a 300-acre Old West town in North Carolina? It's called Whiskey River, and Arctic Outdoors has invited 3 grand prize winners and their guests to see it during the Dale Jr. Foundation's 14th annual Driven to Give event. Talking dinner, drinks, auctions, raffles, and a live performance by Chris Jansen, plus autographed Arctic gear from Dale Jr. himself. To enter now, for your chance, go to arcticoutdoors.com/NASCAR-sweepstakes. RTICOutdoors.com/NASCAR-sweepstakes. Do it. I think this would be a great trip, man. Just to kind of go and hang out with Dale. We've sung his praises. He's the Indy. He's the Brickyard of people, from what I say. ArcticOutdoors.com/NASCAR-sweepstakes for a chance to go down to the Dale Jr. Foundation's 14th annual Driven to Give event. For the Nobody's Cooler segment, if you guys don't mind, I'm giving it to Bubba this week. Bubba Wallace scored 97 points in a 3-week stretch that included the Chicago Street Course, Pocono, and Indianapolis, to put him just 7 points below the cut line. The 2 guys he's chasing, Chris Buescher, scored 58 points in that time frame, and Ross Chastain scored only 38. So now Bubba is only 7 behind Ross Chastain with a handful of races left to go. I think that where a lot of guys have fallen off the past couple of weeks, Bubba has been consistently good, and he's been consistently good at the right time. I happen to be wearing a 2311 sweatshirt. It's totally by coincidence, but I'm saying nobody's cooler than Bubba Wallace. Maybe it's because he found out that his wife or girlfriend is having a baby, so he's like, fuck, I got to pay a lot of bills, and he's been turning it on, but congratulations to Bubba. Nobody's cooler than him. I don't know if you guys want to give any, awards or not out for this, but let's just mention that Kyle Busch did not finish 5 out of the last 8 races. I'm going to ask you, outside of Kyle Busch, who needs this? We have a 2-week break coming up. A lot of people need a 2-week break, and Kyle Busch is probably the first one. Alex Bowman, when he was very nice, came in here, said he's going to a lake. He's throwing his phone in the lake, and he's not answering anything and just unplugging for a week or a week and a half or whatever. Tyler Reddick is not so lucky. He's getting married. Daniel Suarez is getting married, then running a race in Mexico the next day. Who's getting married? Brandon McReynolds. Larry McReynolds' kid, the guy of Clear 28 we did the truck with. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the break. Who do you think needs this break the most? I'm just going to ask you that way instead of going unders. Who needs a fucking
I think
break
Kyle
this
Busch is the easy answer.
Yeah.
I'll give a bad answer, but it's
I kind of
Jimmy Johnson
outside of Kyle, because he's been the one that we keep dumping on him.
I kind of have another one. This might be a hot take, so check me if you guys think so. I think William Byron could use it. He got another did not finish in Indianapolis, and I feel like, he started the season really hot, but the summer has been kind of tough on him, hard on him, and I think 2-week break hopefully will be a fresh start for him when we resume. So I don't know. William Byron is a guy that I'm hoping can recharge during this 2-week off period.
I think Jimmy Johnson may just go on vacation and never come back. Just be like, I can't do this anymore. I think not necessarily needed, but I think Bubba, after this break, might come out and win a race pretty soon after. I think he's hot. Hopefully this doesn't cool him down and just put him back to normal, but gives him a little bit of time to prepare and get ready for one of these races coming up, and I think he could win one.
He can win at Michigan. So we have Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington left. Anyone can win at Daytona, right, as we know, and he could win at Michigan, right?
Yeah.
I think he was P2 there last year. So, I'm pretty bulled up on him. Up on Bubba. But I think even like Ross Chastain could use a couple weeks off.
Yeah.
He's hasn't been racing that well. So there's a bunch of guys who I think could use the break, including us. Sometimes it's worse off. I used to have to take a 2-week vacation in my old profession. Every year you had to take a mandatory. I was a managing director. Every managing director had to take a mandatory 2-week break on top of the other vacations you did throughout the year. And the reason they did that was to refresh the batteries and also so people could go over all your trading data to see if you're doing anything illegal. So I came back from a 2-week break under SEC investigation. So sometimes they're not as good as you would think that they are. But I used to come back after a 2-week break and, that first Sunday where you don't have to go in on the Monday and you don't have those Sunday scaries, it's one of the best feelings in the world. But that second Sunday where you got to go back in Monday after being away from your desk for 2 weeks, it's fucking terrifying. It's
Scary.
the worst thing. But yeah, so I'm hoping these guys get to enjoy it. I will tell you that we will not be back until after Richmond. So the next time we drop is going to be on 8/15 is when we're going to drop. So let's kind of preview what's going on while we're going to be away, and that preview is brought to you by Vanderhagen. Make the switch from cartridge razor to safety razor today with Vanderhagen. Safety razors allow you to get a closer, more comfortable shave. The use of one-blade razors help prevent nicks and cuts while making your skin feel smoother than ever. And the best part, these blades cost as little as $1 a piece and last anywhere from 3 to 5 shaves. This will save you thousands of dollars over the years compared to the cost of cartridge razors. The blades are ice-tempered stainless steel blades from Germany that are sharp enough to give you the perfect shave. The handle is made to last a lifetime, so the only recurring purchase you'll have is for blades, and you can check your local Target and Rite Aid to get yourself a Vanderhagen safety razor today. So if you see one of them on the shelves, just remember my voice and get yourself a Vanderhagen razor today. Trucks will be back on Saturday, August 10th for the Clean Harbor 250 at Richmond. Cup is the following day, Sunday, August 11th for the Cookout 400 from Richmond. And Xfinity Series resumes the following week, Saturday, 8/17 for the Cabo Wabo 250 from Michigan, where we were at last year, and we had an absolutely great time. And then we'll be back after Richmond on Thursday, 8/15. Moonhead, for people who do want to still watch racing and to promote some of these lower series, what else can people tune into if they got a Jones to watch some very good racing, even though NASCAR's top 3 series are on hiatus?
Well, if you've got a Flow subscription, there's going to be plenty of racing. The 2 big ones that I will be following this coming weekend, the throwback race for the Cars Tour at Hickory. It's pretty cool. They do like NASCAR does at Darlington. A bunch of people run like old paint schemes. A lot of them usually have like local ties and stuff though, so that's really cool. It's always a great race. Hickory's a cool track. And then the week after is actually the rain out date for the Cars Tour North Wilkesboro race that got rained out back in May. So they'll be racing there the following weekend. So those 2 are the 2 big ones I'll be following. There's plenty of dirt racing and all sorts of other stuff you can find out there on Flow that'll be going on. Even through the weeks and stuff. But those 2 are the 2 big ones. I'll be going to both of those, so I'm really excited about them.
Awesome.
Excellent.
We got to get the Cars Tour. That sounds fucking incredible.
Yeah, we do.
Especially
That's
the
so
throwback one.
Yes.
a couple of guys hit me every week, tell me what's coming up, and invites and stuff. Unfortunately, we can't get to a lot of them, but I'm dying to get to a Cars tour. I will mention one other thing. Mason Massey, a guy who I gave Nobody's Cooler to last week, the guy with the stutter, who had the Hulk Hogan car and whatnot, reached out saying how much he appreciated being mentioned and he's a fan of the show and stuff. So I'm glad that we had done that. I had no idea. There's going to be no picking the tires this week because there's nothing to really bet on just yet. So, Spider, what do you want to do? You want to do a little snake draft?
So, instead of picking the tires, we're going to pick NASCAR Cup Series teams. We're each going to draft 4 drivers. And here's the criteria. So, me, Moonhead, Quiggs, and Large are each going to make a team consisting of 4 drivers. 1 Toyota Cup driver, 1 Ford Cup driver, 1 Chevy Cup driver, and then 1 driver who is not currently full-time on the Cup Series. You're promoting or hiring an Xfinity truck driver, part-time guy, international guy, whoever you want. And we're going to consist and build a team of 4. For the next 10 years, a team of 4 drivers that we think would be the best, that we would want to hire as GMs to compete and win races in the Cup Series for the next 10 years.
So, just for clarification, it's the next 10 years. Are they locked into your team for 10 years? Or is it like, do we want to put they're locked into a 5-year contract and then beyond that, like, I'm basically trying, I don't want to give away like picks or anything, but like if there was somebody like that you don't trust would actually stay with the same team for 10 years.
I think we just sign them to 10-year contracts.
Okay, so they're signed no matter what.
They're signed. We have them for 10 years. Boom.
It's loose, right?
Yeah.
Like, but
it's all hypothetical anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna
I'll
put the
explain
emphasis on fantasy.
Yeah, I have some crazy picks as well, but I think that's what's going to make this fun.
The only way that we can do this fairly is to do a snake draft. So with a snake draft, as you know, last goes first and blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking of a number right now. I'm going to go 4th. I made that sacrifice for you guys.
That might be the first overall pick.
I'm going to go 4th in the draft. I'll go to the 4th and I'll take myself out of the draft just so we can have like a fair way to see how you guys
4th
are
is
going.
Arguably the best.
Because 4th gets the 5th pick too. 2 in a row is.
So I'm going to go 3rd. That way I have no real advantage. Some people like the 4th spot. Some people like 1st or 2nd. So I'm a number between 1 and 1,000. Everybody write down a number. You have a pencil or paper anywhere near you? Don't let the other person see the number. I got the number in my head and I'm going to write it down on my thing. Boom, boom, boom. And Quiggs, hold up the number. What do you got?
I probably should have drew it larger. 115.
115. Spider, what's your number? It's between 1 and 1,000.
420.
420.
Fucking shit. I shit you not. I typed out 420. All right, I'm going low. 55.
55. So the number I chose was 333. So Spider's the closest with 420. Then Quiggs, then Moonhead. Spider, when do you want to choose? You can go 1st, 2nd, or 4th.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll go 4th. I want to hear what who you would take
Quiggs,
first
you're
off
up
the
next.
board.
Your 1st or 2nd?
I think there's a clear number 1, so I will go with the number 1 pick.
Okay, and then so that means that it's going to be in order: Quiggs, Moonhead, myself, and then Spider, who'll have the 4th pick. Then we'll immediately have the 5th pick as we're doing a snake draft. So everyone, I think, is very familiar with that because Barstool beats this fucking idea to death sometimes. So here we go. Quiggs with the 1st pick, and you can pick 1 driver of Chevy, Ford, Toyota, and then 1 fill-in driver. Correct, Spider? That's our criteria?
Yep.
All right, so with the 1st pick, and you can pick any of those things. Get it off the table. Make the most predictable pick that's ever been made in a snake draft. Quiggs, who is it?
I'm still going to make it, but I'm realizing this may kind of screw me over strategy-wise, but I think you have to take Kyle Larson. Number 1 overall. Just age-wise, skill-wise, he's got to be number 1. I think strategy-wise, there may be some manufacturers that will come back around to me now if I don't pick for another 7 times, and I'll be like, I don't necessarily want to build my dream team with that guy, but I think you can't pass up Kyle Larson with the number 1 overall pick. So
it's almost forced, right? You have no, because we're going to put, and the thing is, even if this makes sense to most people, when you put it up on a graphic, like that's a very pandering pick too, right? You know,
Yeah.
not purposely, but everyone will be like, ooh, you got Kyle Larson, you know, that type of shit. But,
Yeah.
you know, there is some strategy involved with this. So that's almost like a given. With the second pick, a second overall pick in the draft, Moonhead, who are you taking?
Oh man. I think I'm gonna do my Toyota pick. I'm gonna take C-Bell.
That's a great pick.
Wow.
You don't like that one,
I
Quiggs?
think he would have been left on the board. I think he
I
might have been on
disagree.
the board.
I
You
was
think?
I had him on my short list. He's a young guy. He was in the championship 4 last year. He's consistently competing for wins. If you're building a cup team, I think Christopher Bell is one of the top guys you want. 28 years old. He's young enough. I don't know. I think he's a great pick.
I think
he's not
yeah.
really flashy or exciting. But I shouldn't say that. He is exciting.
I don't
when
know
he
why
wins,
I'm shitting on Moon's pick, but would you have taken Chris Bell on your first or second?
No. I have.
So it still would have been there.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't either, and that's the only thing that was in his way. So, Moon, you failed miserably on that one.
Yeah, I did. I should have. Yeah.
No,
I'm
it's a
taking
good pick.
Blaney, right? I'm taking Blaney just because I
Yeah.
think if we need to have a Ford driver, that's the one.
That's
Again,
the
same
category
thing,
I'm
young.
worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
that's the worst. So I think to jump onto Blaney right away, I don't think I have to, confirm that pick at all. But I'm
No.
taking Ryan Blaney to build a team around, great champion, all that kind of bullshit. Right age, beautiful girl on his arm. Can't wait to see her in Bonk. And
He was close to
so
being
that's
the number
So
one.
I'm taking Blaney with the. What's that?
He was close to being my
Yeah.
me switching real quick and taking number one.
Fuck, man. I was hoping I could get
Which
him.
I mean, if you, yeah, it's tough. You decided on 4. You chose 4 out of the gate, and now you're in the catbird seat because you can rob 2 guys. Who do you got as
Yep.
4th and 5th, Spider?
All right, this is going to be fairly easy for me. My first pick, I'm going to take Ty Gibbs. 21 years old, top Toyota driver. I think if we're talking about a guy that has potential, winning potential for the next 10 years, it's Ty Gibbs. He's got 7 years less. I guess Christopher Bell is 7 years older than him. And I don't know. I don't think there's 7 years of difference experience-wise from what I see on a track. Maybe in the win column, sure. But I think Ty Gibbs is going to figure it out. Once he gets that first win, he's going to turn a corner and probably be a mainstay in the Cup Series. Even right now, without a win, he's been running great. So I'm very happy with where he's at. And then on my second pick.
Just so you know, Spider, I'm so glad that you took Ty Gibbs.
Yeah,
because
that's
I'm
crazy.
guaranteed my Toyota driver.
I think
So,
I know
what
who
I mean?
you. Yeah. Well, listen,
it's-
it was
it's easy.
between him or Reddick for me. Reddick's my guy. I love
100%.
Tyler Reddick.
Yep.
Reddick's proven he can win. To me, Ty Gibbs is my guy.
But I'm
I
sitting
don't
on.
know.
I'm
So you want
sitting
the guy
on.
who's
Yeah,
not
I'm sitting on
proven to
Reddick
win.
now with a big smile on my face. So I'm kind of
Largest
loving
team
this.
is going to be fucking stacked.
it's gonna
with
be
Blaney
stacked.
Yeah,
and
if you're-
Reddick.
Oh, I'm loving this now.
That's on you if it's stacked because you're taking
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs with your first pick.
And my second pick is going to be William Byron. Come on down in the bow ties. I need a Chevy driver. Who better than 26-year-old William Byron? His teammate, who is older, Kyle Larson, who you picked, I believe is 31 years old. He made the championship 4, but guess what? So did young gun William Byron.
Yep.
As much as I said he's slumping, he's proven he can win at a myriad of different tracks. And I think I like where I'm at with 2 young guys. Large has got a little bit probably better picks, but they're also both older. So, again, I remind you, this is for the next 10 years. So I'm going with the 2 young guns. I think those guys are probably 2 of the youngest, best potential with where they're at.
I'm taking Reddick with my second pick, obviously, and I think that I'm just keep getting impressed by him. Like you're saying, he's constantly kissing his sister by placing second in all these different races, but I could see Reddick being a very good driver for a very long time. So I get Reddick, no problems. And I also love the Byron pick too, because like the Chevys, that's a little bit easier, but Byron would have been my fucking number 1 with a bullet. Like I was looking forward to taking that Lego building son of a bitch. But I'm going to grab Reddick right now. Moon, it's back to you. Who do you got with your second pick?
Oh man, I don't know, man. The 10 years thing, I've got a lot of strategies here. You know what? I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna take Moon Car driver Carson Hocevar.
I love
Really?
that pick. I love that
Okay.
pick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Moon Car
21
driver
or 20
Carson
years
Hocevar.
old.
Yeah, I mean that's He'll only be 30 in 10 years, and he's already running half decent. So
Yeah.
That's a good long-term pick that's going to look like shit on the graphic right now. You know what I mean? But you know, because people tend to overlook that type of stuff. So right now, Quiggs' next pick is going to show just how much of a panderer he is to the graphic. Because right now he's the worst by far of pandering with us. What do you got for your second pick? Your second and third pick, Quiggs.
Second and
third.
third.
Snaking. Yeah.
So I think the two categories I'm going to go after is the Ford and the non-full-time Cup Series driver, because I can get my Toyota driver whenever I want it now. Mm-hmm. I think for my non-full-size or full-time driver, I'm going SVG.
Fuck.
I think I thought
I was going to blow up the world by taking that fucking guy next.
I thought about doing, I think, even doing like
prick.
One of the
that
big.
Looks so good on a fucking graphic. Kyle Larson and SVG.
Yep.
Honestly, it's like you're building the fucking. That's a super. Go ahead.
I thought about doing like a big like F1 name or something. Just that would have been too pandering, because I don't even know how that would convert. But SVG is in that category of just international guys that actually has some proof behind him that he can run in this series. And I think I've probably overhyped him the way I say he could be the future of NASCAR and be one of those guys that's winning Cup Series and all that. But I think the other names on my list, I wouldn't have been happy with that pick and wouldn't have had great explanation why I think they were good. So SVG was a no-brainer for me there. And then
also, even with 10 years, I feel like you can be a road course ringer for 10 more years. So you look at guys like AJ Allmendinger, who are like 42 years old. SVG is like 34, so 8-year difference, and AJ's still a road ringer. You got Kevin Harvick, who retired at 47. So if there's a guy to go old for, I think it's SVG. I think he had to come off the board, and I was hoping he made it to my next pick. I love that pick for Quiggs, though.
And now I'm stumped on my Ford driver. It's everyone that I want. The age is an issue a little bit.
Yep.
Anybody know if
you can't even take Briscoe because he's a Toyota driver.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Blaney was the big fuck you pick. That was the big fuck you pick to you guys, I think.
Yes,
SVG
that
is
was
kind of like that too. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think SVG and Blaney were the two like tops of their categories on most of our boards. I'm going with, solely because of age, and not that he's a young guy, but compared to my other two options, he's younger. I'm going Chris Buescher in the Fords.
I think that's a great pick.
Buescher.
The Logano and Keselowski, other two options, but they're kind of on the older side. Buescher, I think, is who I have to go with for Ford.
That's a good pick. Moon, you're up with your third pick.
And I was looking at Buescher. I guess Logano. He's only what, 34 or something?
34, yeah. Just
yeah. I'll go with Logano. He'll be around for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
that's me.
that leads me. It's you.
Spider, don't you fucking dare! Don't you dare! I got to take a Chevy and a part-time driver.
So stacked here.
Right. So in my Chevy, I'll be Blaney, Reddick, and I'm going to take Chase Elliott.
I knew you were.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Chase Elliott.
We did him no favors, man.
That looks so fun. By the way, I had said, are you guys okay with me taking third? And you guys are like, cool. I said fourth. You were like, no. So I'm Blaney, Reddick, and Chase Elliott
my fault.
now.
It's Spider's fault. The Ty Gibbs pick in the first round threw everything off.
That's a great. Would it make you feel better if I said that I drafted William in my first round pick and Ty Gibbs was my second round pick?
I guess they were the same pick.
Yeah, because you're right. You have that. Like, you had to do the double, which I don't like.
I think if you took Tyler Reddick over Ty Gibbs in that situation, the draft would have moved differently.
You were with Byron Reddick. That's a monster. Go ahead. You're up with your third and fourth pick, Spider.
Yep. So Ford driver, and my strategy all along has been go young, go with the guys that have proven themselves, made it to the Cup Series, are some of the youngest guys and some of the best guys. As far as I'm concerned, one of the best young Ford drivers is my guy Todd Gilliland. I've been really impressed with him this year. Still searching for wins and whatnot, but in terms of where he's at, I'm very impressed with him. So 23-year-old Todd Gilliland, add him to 26-year-old William Byron, 21-year-old Ty Gibbs. We got a great, powerful three. And then also, I'm going to go with a prospect next, because we're going to need a guy that we're going to need another young guy. My whole strategy all along has been young guys. If I was going to go old with my one of the four drivers, I was going to go old, and that would have been SVG. Unfortunately, he's off the board. I'm going to pivot. I think I'm going to go with, this is tough for me. I'm between Jesse Love or Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer won 4 Xfinity races last year. It sounds like he's getting the Cup nod next year. He would not be my personal pick. I'm partial to Jesse Love, who I've long said that. 19-year-old Jesse Love dominated ARCA last year. Looks pretty good in Xfinity this year. I'm adding him to my team. So Jesse Love.
You added Jesse.
Todd Gilliland, William Byron, Ty Gibbs. Yeah, that team.
Yeah, that's your lineup.
Someone
Tough
hit
team.
me up a decade from now, July 24th, 2034, and we'll see. We'll settle this.
We will. We'll have to do a 10-year anniversary show for this. Who's
I
up?
so I probably should go Sam Mayer as my final pick. I think I'm tempted to take Corey Heim,
Yep.
because I just think that he's going to be pushed up into a seat as well. So I don't know.
All right,
It looks
Corey
better on
Hahn.
the gram. I'm going to go Corey Heim. I'm taking Corey Heim as my fourth, and that's the weakest of my three, just because I have three rock stars. The weakest of my four because I have 3 rock stars. But I think that the kid has a huge future in the sport, and we're looking out 10 years. And Corey Heim is, how old is that fucking kid? Yeah, he's 22.
21 or 2, yeah.
From Marietta, Georgia. Yeah. So I'll take Corey Heim to round mine off. Moon, last pick.
I was actually going to go with Justin Allgaier, but I just learned he's 38 years
Yeah, he's
old.
old as fuck,
Yeah,
right?
He looks my age. So I'm just going to, I guess, commit to the young lineup and build a program. I'm going to go with Connor Zilish.
I love that pick, too.
That is a great pick.
Okay.
One of the best prospects in the sport from what I hear. So sounds like you got a great team. Who are your 4? Hocevar, Zilish.
Logano and Bell.
Logano.
Oh, yeah.
and
You
Bell.
got two established Cup guys, 2 bright future guys.
Is it to me now?
Quiggs, round it out for us. Your 4th pick.
4th pick, last
Yes.
pick. I got to go with a Toyota. And I really want to go Denny. But
It's got to be like John Hunter, Eric Jones, right?
I think Denny's just too old. This was kind of what I was asking about earlier when I was like, do they have to be committed to your team for all 10 years? Because I think if you actually were making a
He's
team, Denny would maybe race for you for 1-2 years, and then he's going to 23-11. But I think can I take Denny?
Yeah, take whoever you. I mean,
You can
Like,
take
I know-
Denny.
I know
you
how
can take
old he
Denny,
is.
But if people understand that it's a 10-year thing and where he is as far as moving on, like he's got a trajectory. But this is a fantasy league, so yeah, you can take.
yeah,
Denny.
you're just
It's
a 3.
gonna look
If
good.
he retires within the 10 years, you just become a 3-car team.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think
Pandering
Denny.
pick again.
I'm between Bubba and Denny, and I think what Denny could do in the next 10 years, even if he retired early, would be more than what Bubba can do in those same 10 years. So
Okay.
I'm going with an old man, Denny Hamlin, and it's a little bit of a weird pick, but I think it's better than taking Bubba Wallace.
All right, so Quiggs is Kyle Larson, SVG, Chris Buescher, and Denny. Moonhead is Christopher Bell, Hocevar, Logano, and Connor Zilish. I'm Blaney, Reddick, Chase Elliott, and Corey Heim. And Spider's Ty Gibbs, Byron, Todd Gillen, and Jesse Love. So I just won that. We're going to put this on a graphic so you'll see it on it. And obviously you can vote and see who you think had won it. Maybe we'll do a blind graphic so, people who are like, oh, I think Moonhead's great, I'll just vote for whatever he says, won't be able to do that. and then that's it. All right, it's I got you guys out of here on time. That was Rubbin is Racing. We'll be back in 2 weeks from now after Richmond. I hope everybody has a great break. Enjoy the Olympics for those who like that. Congratulations on the Kamala Harris thing, Quigsy. I know you're excited about that. Yep, and we'll talk to you guys soon on Rubbin.
And stay tuned for mini golf. We're going to drop the mini golf video on
mini golf will be
Thursday
out
of next week. So a week after this pod drops. It won't be a pod, but there will be the Denny Hamlin mini golf video. So make sure you subscribe, throw that a thumbs up. Enjoy your Olympic break, everyone. And thanks for listening to Rubbin is Racing.